Hey there. So, 2 days ago, a friend of mine sent me a song, and it was open to the effect of, I'm having so little impact. And he was going on about how he was making little impact in the world and made a joke about, well, maybe if I rearrange my bed, this will help me to have impact. Kind of like putting your bed in a different direction for feng shui, which does work. But it just really triggered something in me to say, yeah, like, why do certain people make impact in the world and other ones don't? And especially in spirituality, there are the people that you see them like they're doing their work and then they're able to manifest things when they need it. They're able to own their stuff when it comes up for them, and not project it outwards. They've chosen a life of service that contributes to the world, and then there's a type of spirituality that people are practicing but can't really make anything manifest. Money is still a problem. Relationships are still a problem. They're still having blow-ups all the time. It's like, I'm doing this work but nothing's really happening. And this is a real thing, In the video, when I talked about what gives prayer impact, I talked about, this magical aspect of having to put our energy into matter in order to make it manifest in the material world, And really, when we're doing these practices, energetically, what really gives us impact in the world is what we can call our spiritual root. Like how much energy of our activity is actually going into the earth. And you can actually scan this with your hands. Funny enough, you can scan the energy coming down from spirit and you can scan the energy going into the root. Again, if you haven't learned how to scan, go back and review my videos for scanning 1 and 2. So this is the reality check that I was talking about earlier in some of my videos when, we want to believe that we're certain things, but then when we actually do the scanning into the reality, just like I had with my teacher in the beginning when she said, scan your root, and I'm like, I'm very spiritual, and there was nothing. And of course, at the time, I was having problems with money and having problems with relationships and all kinds of stuff. Of course, I was having problems manifesting. I wanted it so badly, but it just wasn't happening. So the spiritual root. Anytime you're scanning any kind of cord, so if you imagine like a tube, if I want to scan it, I want to put my hands staggered so that when I come to the edges to scan this tube that's hopefully there, as I come in with my hands, and of course you've turned your hands on, they're working, you can feel energy. I'm coming in to scan this tube, and anytime I'm going to scan something, I've said before, you want to scan exactly, or say exactly what it is you're scanning, and you want to say when. So I'm scanning my spiritual root, or my grounding cord, let's call it that, with my hands. So you would say, my grounding cord now, and you would take your hands again, stagger them, and slowly start to come in, and still you feel like a touch. It's like you hit something, yeah? So if the grounding cord is quite, we'll say weak, your hands will come in and it'll almost feel like you won't really feel anything. Okay. So if you imagine you're doing your practices, you're doing anything on earth, how are you going to have any impact? If there's no energy going down into the earth to actually manifest in the material, of course there's going to be no impact. It's very difficult. So I want to share today one simple technique that I do at the beginning of any energy session when I'm giving to somebody, at the beginning of any meditation or spiritual endeavor, to help myself be energetically present. So what does that mean? So I'm not just made up of this material body. It's a big part of me, but it's not all of me. There is also the energy body, which is the pranic body, is the one that's very close, and we've talked about this one before. There's also the emotional body where emotions are stored. We have the mental body where our thoughts and thought forms are stored. And we have the spiritual body, so the one we carry with us from lifetime to lifetime. And again, many different systems have different ways that they classify the energy bodies. It's not like it's stagnant and it's, it doesn't just go in these stages. It's like we're infinite. We go on, and you could make a million bodies, but just to make it simple, to explain it that way. So if I'm going to have someone in front of me for a healing, and I want to work on them, now wouldn't it be important to have all aspects of them there and present for what we're about to do? If I don't do that, I could just be working on the physical. But if the emotional body is off somewhere, or the mental body is off somewhere, daydreaming, or the spirit's not even there, I'm missing all that opportunity to work on those aspects of a person if I'm not calling them back, calling them in to be present. This is really important. So I want to use the example of the grounding cord about impact so that you can see a tangible example of what I'm talking about with this exercise. So what I do to bring the pranic body back is I'm going to imagine a little mini me, little tiny person. And I'm going to put my hands above and I'm going to say my pranic body. And I'm going to bring it down so that it aligns with the little physical mini me. And I almost imagine that I'm anchoring the feet of the spirit body into my physical feet. And then I do the emotional body and I bring the emotional body down, calling it in. And you may feel like an energy arise when you bring that in. I felt my emotional body land. You'll feel it. Or your clients may feel it if you're working on people. Going in and bringing the mental body down. And for those of you who are skilled at looking at energy, there's an incredible amount of information that you can garner when you're going through these different bodies. This is how I diagnose. There's lots of holes. I can feel it's very hard to bring down. It's very spacious. There's energies in there that feel like, so you can get lots of information as well, of course, that you hold sacred. And finally, the soul body, and I bring that down and I anchor it into the feet. So all of a sudden, just me doing that for myself, I can feel everything expanding. So what's the tangible application of this? Let's look at the grounding cord. I'm going to measure the shift in thickness or the increase in thickness in my grounding cord just from bringing down the bodies. So if I were to scan, interesting. So I'm getting a hit about here. So from wherever it was before, it's expanded this much. Simply from bringing my energy bodies and aligning them and bringing them present to before I do whatever it is I'm going to do. So all of me is here. All the effort that I'm making is affecting all of me. And of course, the benefit of this is that energy is going into manifestation. So the people that are able to manifest stuff in life have a thick grounding cord. So it's curious to check for yourself, how is my grounding cord? And be honest. Like I said in earlier videos, you want to be in your center. You want to really be able to get the honest answer, not the one you wish you could have. Just be in your center and do a scan and get real about where you're at and what you need to do. So that simple exercise of bringing down the bodies before you do things, super helpful. But also, as a last little tip, if you want to keep your grounding cord strong, you want to keep your roots strong. So please, please, please stick to the things that you say you're going to do. If you're going to do something and then the last minute you go, I don't want to. I'm not going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. Your root shrinks. Your grounding cord shrinks. So stuff happens, life comes up, but you own it. But it's more important to really be real about the things you say and the commitments you make. If you don't want to make that commitment, don't say you're going to do it. No, I don't want to. No, that's not something I'd like to do. No, thank you. Yes, I would like to do that. And then you go ahead and do it, and the root stays strong. So really hold to your word. And finally, after you do this exercise of bringing the bodies down, go out in the world and do something physical. If you're having issues with relationships, sit and do a prayer of forgiveness or sending loving kindness if you want that relationship to thrive. If you're having issues with money, get off your butt and go make a tithe. Go do something. Really important if you want to start to have impact. So I hope this helps. Good luck with everybody's grounding cord. May it flourish and become very wide. So if you like what you're seeing, please click subscribe on the channel so you don't miss anything. I'm also having a newsletter that you can sign up for so you don't miss any videos. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.